Well, like I said, Kelly, don't make plans because whenever I seem to make a plan, it gets completely changed. So this morning, the weather slightly changed what we were planning to do this morning. And then Dean said about, because obviously we're trying to fast forward onto what is actually happening between me and Dean. And we'd had another day yesterday, which was like, whether he's seeing the kids here, whether we're going, whether we're together or whatever. So anyway, he took the boys out this morning, and I was meant to go down to the garage and start rummaging around and sorting some stuff out, but I just wasn't in the mood for it. It was a little bit early for me in terms of the time that I wanted to go out anyway. And I left it this morning, and then Dean came back with the kids and he went, right, he said, I'm going to go and do some art down in the garage. Is there any space in the garage? And I said, well, no, not really, but you might be able to clear some space. So anyway, Dean goes down to the garage and all of a sudden sort of calls me and goes, Kelly, there's a young girl asleep in the garage. You want to make her a cup of tea and some breakfast? So I was like, right, okay. I wasn't quite expecting that. So I made a cup of tea and some breakfast and went to take it down. And Dean said, well, we're sort of coming up. And I was like, oh, okay, well, Dean's allowing this. So, okay, this is a bit strange. So anyway, I don't want to give away somebody's personal story. I want to talk about the perspective of what it's just taught me. One, she is an undiagnosed hypermobility EDS, clear as fucking day. And two, she's adopted. But she wasn't just adopted once. I don't actually know how many foster care placements that she's had, but she was adopted as a baby. And then obviously that broke down and she was adopted again. But obviously is in a hostel now. And this is the other side of the coin. But the thing that I find really difficult about it, and it's really difficult because this girl could be quite pinnacle in all of this stuff, and I don't know. She's been with us all day today, so Danny's just come on. So just to say, Dean went down to the garage and found a young girl sleeping in our garage this morning, and it only turns out that she's adopted and has hypermobility EDS undiagnosed. But she said something really prolific to me, and she said, I feel like when I was a baby that I separated my spirit from my body because I kept being passed around so many different people. I can't work out whether she has severe mental health or is completely telling the truth. And that is really, really, really difficult place. And this is where I have a lot of empathy and stuff for social workers and psychotherapists. I don't want to get into all of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heart stuff. Why are you deciding to have a poo right there? Well done, you. 2 seconds. My dog's decided to have a poo right outside the fire station. With the Amber Heart, I haven't actually caught up with all the Johnny Depp, Amber Hartman stuff. And I will do. And the reason that I will do is because it's highlighting so much stuff. Leave your poo alone, you. Don't do that. My dog's just picked its poo up in its mouth. Leave that, you nugget. Eleanor, leave. 2 seconds because I've got to pick my dog shit up. But I think what it's done is it's highlighted so much stuff about mental health, borderline personality and things like that. I don't want to mention anything personal about people at the moment, but I'm going to use an example. And one of the things with what is considered grandeur, so people that are considered grandeur, would be people that say that they are part of the royals or part of the said Queen's family and things like that, yeah? However, I have also seen a psychological warfare that is used on people who do say that they are claimed to be either children or family members of any royals or anything like that. And they do this to make sure that things are covered up, right? So there's two sides of the coin. So take me for an example, coming here to Portsmouth, talking about Donald Trump, yeah? So when I'm talking about Donald Trump and crewing for Donald Trump, people are going, oh, she's grandeur, she's this, she's making that up, she's doing this. And it's no different than when I tell different stories from my lifestyle, yeah? So if I said to people that when I was a kid, that my stepfather used to make Bryan Adams's cars for him. I think they were Land Rovers. So he used to be the person that used to import and export his cars in, and we went to watch Bryan Adams and sit in the VIP box before that song, One and Only, not One and Only, or whatever it was famous, right? So then some people, when I used to go to school, would go, oh, she's bollocks, she's telling the truth, she's lying, there's no way she's doing that. Because people can't understand people from social status. And it's no different than Graham, the person who was the alcoholic down here. And he would say things about being who his father was and things like that. And then you've got people that work in an office that think, oh, that person must be grandeur. But how many people, so it comes back down to being a celebrity, isn't it? Now, I want to talk about this a little bit further because we've had quite a bit of an in-depth conversation with this girl. She's gone back to the hostel now, but she really didn't want to go to the hostel. And actually, me and Dean were sort of struggling on whether or not we were going to end up taking in another Josie or something. And we've done our kindness to the level that we can. She's 22, she's not a child. But it just goes to show how many of these children are being taken from their families for possible future emotional harm, and they're apparently being placed in these forever families. I'm not even talking about sexual abuse here. I'm not even talking about sexual abuse. I'm not even talking about foster carers and adopters that abuse children. I'm talking about foster carers and adopters that have a job to do. Take Josie. Josie has given birth to a wonderful, beautiful baby girl, but right in the middle of her being in hospital, she had to go to a respite placement because the foster carers were going on holiday. So Josie had to go to a respite foster carers during that time. I was having a conversation today that if a bird was to be taken away from its mother and handled by so many people, it would die. It's no different than a butterfly. If a butterfly lands on your hand and it's the most beautiful thing, once you catch that butterfly, you've killed it. And she felt that from being a baby, because she had been handled by so many people, that she felt that she developed a mechanism that disconnected her from everybody around. And then also, even with her being at ours today, and she sort of settled in very easily and very well. And I was talking to Dean about remembering my first day of having a social worker take me to a foster carer's house and sitting at a table and then telling me, this is where I'm going to be living. This is your bedroom and it's with somebody else. This is the living room area. This is the kitchen. And these are the chores that you will be part of. And that's all well and good. But it's very difficult for people to keep doing that. And these babies are being taken from the ages about 6 months old. Some even younger, some right from birth. And that baby is then left in that crib. And I'm not being funny, but there's smackheads, crackheads out there, mate, that if you left them holding that newborn baby, and you dried them out and you kept them with that newborn baby, mate, that baby and that mum would probably heal together if you worked with them in that way. If the system that we had actually worked with families in the right way, I mean, God, do you know, Josie, before she even settles, will probably go off to another foster carers. Even this young lady has says she just wants a key to her own home. And then people go, why don't they just go and do it for themselves? Because they've got the system so wrapped around them. They don't even know what's fucking true and what isn't. They don't know what is in their paperwork that's true. Like, okay, take your own child, and people are here are people who have had children taken by the state. What has happened today has made me go to Dean. I have got to kick whatever issues it is about going into court, because I can see it coming. I can see Aaron grabbing that rucksack and saying to Faith, now's the time, we're going. And I don't want to think that all these people that are homeless, all these people that are on the streets, and I know people judge them, and I know people go, it's a crackhead, it's a smackhead. Oh. Sorry, my dog just knocked my phone out. You know, it's a smackhead, it's a crackhead, it's this, it's that. Well, actually, most of them are just people that have been abandoned, people that... Not all adoption places turn out right. Really, really don't. And a lot of parents sit there with this belief system that everything's okay, their child's good, they're happy, they're in a great place. Well, I would probably say between the ages of maybe 4 to 7, 3 to 7, that a child could probably easily adapt to being around other people. But once it's really, really pushing its own identity, once they're getting to their teens, mate, these kids are not sticking around in these adoptive homes, and they're going to the fucking streets, or they're in hostels somewhere, and they're not getting the... I said to this girl today, I said, the one thing that I have always needed in this world that I haven't been able to get from my parents that I've needed is that if I go and take a risk in life, be it that I go off the skate ramp and I fall and I break my leg, I want to know that there is somebody in this fucking world that the hospital can ring, that I've got a next of kin that goes, right, cool, and things get taken over. I've never had that. I've never had that safe place to be able to go off and be able to do what I need to do, knowing that my parents are there. You know, I've had it in certain ways, but not... You know, my mum's home has never been my home. Do you know what I mean? You know, my mum's home is not my home. So having someone come to me in the way that they've come to me, and actually being the other side, and being the actual child that was adopted, and seeing... It's devastating, because I really can't work out... I don't want to not believe somebody about who their parents may be or who their parents might not be. And people who have been taken away from their real mums will make up fallacies and stories about who they think that their parents are. I even carried in my own wallet in my teenage years, hey you, a picture of Max Caulfield and what was her name from Grease 2. And I used to keep a picture of them in my wallet. And my mum will even say that, you know, in particular years, I was always looking for that mother imprint, always. So I just find the whole thing sad. I think it's very interesting that she's got EDS. I don't know whether I'll see her again. She has left a couple of bits at ours, and I think deliberately, to feel like she's maybe got somewhere at the moment. But me and Dean, as much as we do have talked about fostering and adopting and all of that, you know, we've said we've got stuff to do first. We've got the boys and stuff. If I lived in a bigger place, I'd probably take every waif and stray in. And I don't know whether she's going to go back to her hostel or whether she's going to stay on the streets. But it's not my problem. It's not my responsibility. But it came our way this morning. And like I said to her, I said, at least we weren't the sort of people to go, you know, get out our fucking garage sort of thing, and we didn't. So, but it was getting very difficult over what was happening. I think she would have been quite happy to just have settled with us and found a new home, I think. But then you've got all the social stuff, and she's got social and everything, and it's just too much. So, yeah, so I wasn't quite expecting that today. Anyway, my battery's going. I'm just walking the dog. But I think to all you parents out there, you stop making up things in your head about where your child may be or may not be, and actually go and find out how they really are. Because I have a feeling that a lot of the children that we think are settled are not as settled as we think they are. And I don't even think Aaron and Faith would be that bothered about leaving their adoptive parents over their natural parents either. They might want to see them a couple of times, but it would phase. I was like that with my stepmum. I saw my stepmum for a bit after my dad and that divorced, but, you know, once that one comment was made to me, that was it. So, you know, who knows if I'll ever see her again in my life, but I haven't seen any of my other step-parents, and they were in my life and built bonds with me. So I haven't seen my own foster parents for a long time, and the only reason I ever went to see them was out of courtesy that I was in the south and bob in and say hello and sort of let them know how I was doing more than anything. So yeah, all I would say is it's both sides of the coin. So let's just hope our kids are all right, eh?